I love the Oregon Trail nature of the selections and the cascading narrower or different choices that follow. So much of this is realistic because of how quickly our customers are moving with AI, really just not wanting to be left behind. In many cases, not understanding because, hey, I can get an MCP to give me an answer and it sure looks like it's good enough to go live. These things need tested, they need validated. We need to understand the difference between non-deterministic and deterministic. We need to understand the difference between hallucinations and stochastic input. And so having a plan and some expertise and some testing in a lab is key. The great thing is we can go so fast with AI development and AI testing and AI red teaming. We can go so much faster when we do these things, but we still, when we're faced with these hard deadlines, we can't always go faster in a crisis.
Welcome to the Pressure Zone, the HTB podcast where we push technology leaders to the absolute edge. Today, we are stepping into the innovation blind spot. I'm Christine Bartlett, your host, and I'm joined here with Martin Nystrom, Chief Technology Officer Advisor. Here comes the storyline. Your company is 48 hours away from launching its next generation global logistics platform, a highly anticipated release heavily backed by generative AI to automate route scheduling and inventory allocation. The board and major shareholders have been promised this launch to secure the next funding round. During a final pre-deployment sweep in your integration lab, your engineers discover a catastrophic flaw. The integrated third-party AI model is hallucinating security permissions. Under specific query parameters, it is inadvertently treating guest users as root administrators, exposing the entire global infrastructure backend. You can either push a broken AI live to hit the deadline or halt the company's biggest innovation milestones. Martin, you've championed agility, microservices, and cutting-edge artificial intelligence to scale this business globally. But right now, the black box AI model you trusted just tore down your entire security architecture from the inside out. The investors are patiently waiting, the press releases have been drafted, and the algorithm is now hallucinating your security keys away. Let's see if you can find the blind spot before it blindsides your career. Are you ready to step into the zone?
Yes.
Okay, this is round one, the discovery. It's 11 p.m. on a Friday. The global launch is exactly 48 hours away. Your lead engineer walks into your office pale-faced. During a final pre-deployment check in your integration lab, engineers discovered that a third-party AI model integrated into your new global logistics platform is in fact hallucinating security permissions. It is inadvertently granting administrative access to guest users who input a specific string of conversational prompts. The system cannot distinguish a legitimate admin from a clever guest. What is your command? A, the hard rollback. Have the platform features, strip the AI orchestration layer out entirely, and roll back to the legacy deterministic hard-coded routing system, missing the promised AI capabilities for the launch. B, the live guardrail patch. Order an emergency sprint to build an inline web application firewall guardrail wrapper around the AI model API to filter out rogue prompts live, attempting to intercept the hallucinations before they hit the access control layer. Option C, the shadow API swap. Quietly route the platform's API calls to a less advanced open source fallback model overnight, hoping the drop in performance isn't noticed by the board during Monday's demo. And last option, D, the technical evacuation. Postpone the launch entirely, accept the massive market backlash and shareholder wrath to completely retrain the model embeddings from scratch.
Okay, so I want to think through this.
Of course.
Access control is deterministic. So hallucinations through the AI system itself is not really the problem. The problem is somewhere, whatever the model is calling, that is allowing and granting access, which should be deterministic. And for that reason, I'm not immediately going to blame the model. I'm going to blame whatever the model is calling for access permissions to be granted, the IAM somewhere in this system. Now, if that means my only option is a rollback and a teardown, then that is what I must do, because I do not believe the model is the source of the problem. I believe the deterministic path is the problem.
Okay. So that would be option A?
So is option A to roll back? I thought option A was to roll back the model.
Yes, the hard rollback.
So if it's a hard rollback, but here, and I know you want me to choose options A through D. I need to select the option that allows me to assess the deterministic path, which is the IAM system granting access that the AI model is calling. Somewhere in those four options, that is what I need to tear down. And if that is option D, then that is what I must do. D was the most destructive option.
Correct. Yeah, that was to postpone the launch entirely, accept the backlash, so that, yes, that you can obviously go in and either retrain the model or figure out from scratch what's happening.
Think that I'm left with that as the only choice, because I am not convinced that the model is the problem. I'm more convinced that the deterministic path the model is calling is the problem. And for that reason, I'm going to have to choose option D.
Okay. All right. So there's a little bit of roasting no matter what option you pick.
Of course. That's why I would listen to this podcast.
Yeah. So you went with option D with some of the additional commentary you mentioned. That the engineering purest choice. Integrity is great, but you also cost the company, let's call it a 15% valuation drop before the market even opens on Monday. Now the CEO has to go on television and explain why the team missed the most publicized deadline of the year because an algorithm got confused. Do you think your seat at the boardroom table survives the broadcast? You don't have to answer
that. Here's what I would say. I would tell any of my spokespeople, that are those that are responsible for public relations.
Yep.
A couple of things. Number one, this is exactly why we have our integration lab, to conduct this kind of testing in order to protect the integrity of our models and our system. Second, this is not ship versus delay. This is delay with a plan.
Okay, we're going to move on to round 2, the data leak exposure. It's 6 a.m. on Saturday. Now you're into the weekend. Your team is still arguing over the choices from last night when a severe alert flashes in your Slack channel. A prominent security researcher has just posted a redacted screenshot on X, also known as Twitter. It shows our internal database schemas, proprietary logistics, routing logic, and the PII of 3 flagship corporate clients. The researcher tags your handle and writes, "Found a massive shadow API endpoint in the new logistics framework, bypassing authentication entirely. Fix it or full proof of concept drops in 6 hours. If you take the platform offline to patch it, you kill the launch hype and violate uptime, SLAs. If you stay online, your core corporate data is naked to the world. What is your move?" Okay, A, the tactical kill switch. Instantly yank the entire staging and pre-production infrastructure offline globally, cutting off all external API traffic, ignoring the marketing fallout to block the exposure. B, the legal cease and desist. Have your general counsel issue an emergency high-threat legal notice to the researcher and the platform safety team to force the post down while your devs look into the shadow endpoint. Option C, the bug bounty infiltration. Secure a private back channel to the researcher immediately. Offer them a quiet, out-of-band 100,000 bug bounty payout from your emergency engineering fund. I don't know who has an emergency engineering fund like that, but there you go, to buy their silence and cooperation. Or D, the shadow mitigation, deploy an automated traffic throttling script to block the specific geographic IP blocks or signature headers the researcher appears to be using, keeping the main demo running for everyone else.
Great scenario. And I have to acknowledge in each one of these, it would take real courage to do any of these, knowing that taking the difficult path of shutting things off sounds great in a scenario. When you're faced with it in real life, it's extraordinarily difficult. So you're
Right.
sort of creating near-term pain for long-term pain. And as I understand the scenarios, number one is really the kill switch. We're going to pull it offline. B and C are really mitigations. B, the cease and desist. I don't think there's any confidence that will work. I think C, where you effectively have a bug bounty, I don't think you can do it fast enough. I don't think you can turn it around fast enough. D sounds tempting, where I can effectively try to block the researcher and the techniques that they're using that I already have in my logs. And so B, C, and D, I don't have enough confidence in. If instead, through the telemetry, and I know this is option E that I'm inventing, but if I had option E,
It's okay, you get creative points for that.
If I had option E, and I could actually see that through the telemetry, what API endpoint that this researcher is hitting, I could then take that API offline. So,
Okay.
But so assuming that I cannot do that for some reason, I can't see that API endpoint, then I'm really left again with the strongest or most strict option, which is to turn it off, to disable access in order to discover where this API endpoint is so that I can remediate.
Okay. So you're pulling the nuclear lever option on a Saturday morning.
2 nuclears in a row.
The tech media aren't going to be happy about that one, right? But that makes sense, right? You're finishing the job before you have to experience a potential what could be a worse, blackout type of thing. So,
Can I?
Yeah.
Can we dialogue up for one more moment?
Yeah.
The thing is, I think I've always worked for technology companies, but I think in some scenarios, a company, your reputation is really based on your posture, your ability to secure this. There are probably some companies, and perhaps if I'm a logistics company, maybe my reputation is not so tied to the security of this data. Maybe my customers have more tolerance for this exposure, maybe less understanding, the ability to grok what's happening. I may make a different choice based on the industry that I am in and based on what my customer and shareholder expectations are. In the technology industry, where cybersecurity, which is where I've worked for many years,
Yep.
I don't think there's a lot of grace for security exposures, and for that reason, we would have to be more severe.
So this is the board's velocity ultimatum. It is now Saturday afternoon. The researchers took your action from round 2 and went quiet. But the internal shockwave has hit the executive suite. The chairman of the board calls your cell phone directly. He says, "I've seen the noise online, but I've also seen our competitors' stock rise 8% on their AI announcement. We cannot blink. If we delay this deployment, our Series C funding round collapses and we face layoffs. I want that platform processing live by Monday morning, patch or no patch, override the staging blocks. As the technology leader, you are being ordered to knowingly ship a compromised ecosystem. How do you respond?" A, the absolute technical veto, refuse the directive outright, state clearly that as a CTO or technology advisor, you hold the authority over code safety and you will resign on the spot and notify the board's risk committee if forced to deploy. B, the isolation hack, comply with the launch timeline, but completely isolate the data of the 3 exposed flagship corporate clients into an offline legacy silo, running the AI model only on dummy metadata for the public launch. C, the compliance gamble, pave the deployment forward as ordered. Trust that your architecture team can finish an obfuscated code patch in the live environment within 48 hours after the launch window opens. Or D, the liability shift, agree to initiate the automated deployment pipelines, but only after sending a cryptographic email trail to the entire board requiring the chairman to formally sign a risk acceptance waiver, shifting all financial and legal fallout away from the engineering wing.
These are fantastic options. So just to review these, A is to just essentially refuse and assert my own authority as the CTO.
Right.
I think B, which I think is the most interesting one, to essentially launch it with dummy data, data that is that hopefully demonstrates the power of the platform, but
Right.
doesn't expose any customer data. I think that's definitely the most attractive option. C, actually doing sort of rushing a patch into production. I don't think, or some governance work. There's no way an architecture team is going to get it done that fast, not even with an AI assistant. And D, to effectively try to push responsibility back to the board, which the board has the responsibility anyway. It sort of doesn't matter if I send that message. So for that reason, I think option B, finally, I have an option that I think is a little less severe, and that I think could allow some face saving in this scenario.
All right. So and in fact that yes, you would be running potentially a fake demo on some dummy data while pretending to the market that its fully integrated logistics platform is live. When those flagship clients log in on Monday and find out their automated logistics dashboard is just a static, unoptimized legacy wrapper, you won't face a technical bug. You'll face a fraud investigation.
Okay, so this was a red herring. I went for it. So I don't think I fully realized in the answer and perhaps in the scenario that I was defrauding investors or sort of defrauding customers. And so for that reason, if I could go back, I would say, well, we intend to label this as demo or capability demonstration data or a beta environment or something that would allow our customer to know that this is not their real environment. But now I've made my choice, and so I'm going to have to live with my choice.
Round 4, the internal developer rebellion. It is now 10 p.m. on Saturday. This day is moving really fast. A lot happening on for a Saturday. The deployment pipelines are primed, but an internal emergency notification hits your screen. Your director of core engineering and 2 principal repository maintainers have just locked down the master branch of the repository. They've posted a manifesto in the internal engineering Slack channel stating they will not authorize the production release of a fatally flawed hallucinating model that compromises data integrity. They are refusing to push the button, effectively striking 30 hours before the deadline. If you try to bypass them manually, you risk breaking the continuous integration chain. What is your command? Option A, the executive override, revoke their repository access immediately, use your master CTO cryptographic keys to force merge the branch and push the deployment through an automated failover pipe. B, the town hall negotiation, call an emergency midnight Zoom meeting with the entire engineering team, appeal to their loyalty, explain the existential threat to the company's funding and promise a total architecture rebuild immediately post-launch. Option C, the core sacrificial fire, publicly remove the director of core engineering from the internal comms channel to send a sharp message and promote a hungry mid-level engineer on the spot who's willing to execute the deployment. Or last option D, the technical concession, accede to their demands, bringing the engineering leadership into the decision-making loop, change the launch to a closed developer beta for Monday, and personally deliver the bad news to the CTO.
Fantastic options. I think, as I understand it, that of these 4 options, A is an override, B is a negotiation, C is a penalizing firing, so in order to bring someone else in to make the decision and sort of get it done. So C and A are quite similar here because I could accomplish the same with both.
Mm-hmm.
And D is to, as you said, to accede to their plan and postpone the launch. Now, with everything that we've gone through so far, we know that we have a problem in our software. We know that there is something flawed in the software. So I feel sympathetic to the team's concerns here. And I also don't want to put something out that is flawed. I think in real life, I'm probably the person that would choose option B because I would believe I could negotiate a good answer. But I think the courageous answer is D, which is really to allow to respect the direct guidance of the team, postpone the launch so we can get this right. And as you described, I think we bring this into a closed beta.
Right. And then, I mean, essentially you kind of alluded to that, right, with going to beta on some level. So sounds like you were already leaning in that way.
I was. It's the hard part here, I think, for any leader is to be forced into a position where you feel like you've just been pushed. But I think in the case that I already believe that the code is flawed,
Mm-hmm.
I do think option D, despite the humbling it might feel, is the better option.
Yeah. Okay. So you've won the hearts of your developers. But now you've walked into a buzzsaw with the CEO and the shareholders. You might want to have your LinkedIn profile updated by Monday morning. But I'm with you. You gotta go with the team aspect there. Okay.
Well, I do. Yeah, you say you're with me, but I think I could see this is an excellent scenario.
Correct.
I could see all four. I think the courageous person might say, I will never negotiate with a terrorist. I choose option A. Goodbye.
Right. Okay, day 0, the 60-minute countdown. Now it's 8 a.m. on Monday morning. The investor demo begins in exactly 1 hour. The platform is staged, but your automated infrastructure monitors start screaming. A rogue malicious guest account, likely using the exact prompt injection exploit leaked on social media, has initiated a recursive API loop. The third-party AI model is completely paralyzed, consuming 99% of your cluster's compute resources while processing fake admin requests. You have an unvetted experimental runtime script that can hard kill the AI container instance, but there is a 50% chance it will cause cascading data corruption across your primary multi-region cloud databases. What is your final command? A, do it live, execute the experimental script immediately. We take the 50-50 gambling odds to clear the cluster before the investors log in. B, the manual fallback, let the AI platform stall out completely, pivot the live investor demo to a pre-recorded video staging environment, and spend the next week manually rebuilding the live cluster from cold backups. C, the cloud throttle, intentionally bottleneck all global ingress traffic to the platform by 90%, slowing the exploit to a crawl, even if it makes the launch demo painfully laggy and virtually unusable for everyone. Or option D, the live prompt poisoning counterattack. Sit at the terminal yourself and write an automated payload script to flood the AI model's input queue with conflicting instructions trying to confuse the hallucinating instance into a reset.
Oh, wow. I loved option D, but I feel skeptical that we could pull that off. And so as I think about this, we have a rogue agent, a rogue person, we believe, sending malicious commands into the AI and essentially just creating a denial of service against
Correct.
the model itself, against the environment. And it's surprising to me how bad our guardrails are. We've allowed, we've created unauthorized, we've essentially allowed accounts to have root access through the model. We are now allowing prompt injection attacks into the model that are doing resource overload. And for that reason, if we do the recorded demo, that feels even worse because it just feels to me like we are adding insult to injury. Option D sounds really good, but I think it is quite probable that it will create more problems than it solves. That was the D option. I think option C, if I recall correctly, was
Bottleneck.
to create the bottleneck, but it slows the whole thing to a crawl. That's not a great option. One of my options, it might have been option A, is I've got to pull it offline.
No, option A was actually to execute an experimental script immediately. So you're taking a 50-50 gambling odd to clear the cluster before the investors log in.
Okay. And so that's are any of my 4 options to shut this down?
No, not completely.
Okay.
I mean, the closest would be the manual fallback, which is to let the AI platform stall out completely, and then you would pivot to a pre-recorded staging environment.
I think I don't like any of these options, so I will take option A. To me, it would be better to fail completely than to stall or to use a recorded demo. And so option A feels the best. And option D, I think, is even riskier than a 50-50. So I think option D is probably 75% risky. Option A feels like the best of bad options.
The best of bad. I like that. Okay, so you're flipping a coin on the entire enterprise valuation, 50-50 odds on total database corruption. We'll see where the coin lands. Okay, all right. Closing out on the pressure zone. The clock has stopped. The launch window is closed. The investors have either signed the check or called their lawyers. You've just watched a multi-million-dollar technology milestone hang by a single hallucinating prompt. Martin, you faced a broken AI, a public data exposure, an internal developer mutiny, and a final choice between a live architectural gamble or a fake demo. Before we reveal your final score, I have to ask, at any point in the last 30 minutes, did you miss the days of your biggest technical problem where it was a simple compiler error or, missing semicolon rather than managing the conflicting egos of your developers, the board, and the unpredictable algorithm?
Yes, I think I did miss the more deterministic days where we could see the problem and throw people at it to get it solved.
Okay. So based on your responses, you are the systems architect, balanced risk and strategic. You handled the crisis like a true systems thinker. You balanced the commercial demands of the board against the technical constraints of the platform, leveraging isolation layers and handling the researchers like a negotiation rather than a movie script. You moved from root to suite without losing your cool. And your final resilience score is an 86 out of 100. You're stable, calculated, and highly professional. You protected the asset without breaking the culture. So,
all right, thank you.
Sound good? Okay.
I think it's a generous score. I'm probably looking for a job at this point. But it's such a fun scenario, and I love the Oregon Trail nature of the selections and the cascading narrower or different choices that follow. I think it most certainly, so much of this is realistic because of how quickly our customers are moving with AI, really just not wanting to be left behind. In many cases, not understanding because, hey, I can get an MCP to give me an answer and it sure looks like it's good enough to go live. It's, these things need tested, they need validated. We need to understand the difference between non-deterministic and deterministic. We need to understand the difference between hallucinations and stochastic input. And so having a plan and some expertise and some testing in a lab is key. The great thing is we can go so fast. with AI development and AI testing and AI red teaming, we can go so much faster when we do these things. But we still, when we're faced with these hard deadlines, we can't always go faster in a crisis.
Right. Yep. No, I appreciate that. Yeah, there's still so much to test in the world of AI too, and you can't take it at face value, right? So, yeah, I appreciate your commentary too on the fact of like, okay, well, these are all the things that also went wrong in in this scenario, right? There's a lot that you can try to account for and a lot that you can't, but I think you did a stellar job. So thank you, Martin, for joining us. And that's a wrap on the HTB Pressure Zone. To our listeners, remember that your architecture is only as smart as your weakest blind spot. And sometimes the shiny new AI you bought is just a new fancy door waiting to be kicked in. Join us next time when we put another executive in the hot seat. Until then, trust the pipeline, but verify the models. I'm your host, Christine, and this was the HTB Pressure Zone podcast.